Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to play Spot the Difference. And the goal is we need to see what is the difference between the left picture and the right picture. And we're going to learn kitchen vocabulary at the same time. So let's begin. What do we have in this picture? Of course, we have a sink here, sink with a tap on top. So there's always a sink and a tap in most kitchens. So here's the sink and here's the tap, and I think they are gray. So we have a gray sink and a gray tap right here. Here we have the stove. So this is the stove, and there are orange rings on top of the stove. So it looks like it is an electric stove. So this is the stove, and below the stove, just below the stove, is the oven. So this is a blue oven. Okay, so we have the stove on top with the orange rings, and we have the oven below. I think that on top of the stove here, on top of the stove, I think this is a kettle. At least I think this is a kettle. A kettle is where you boil water. It is where you make water very hot. So if you're going to make a cup of tea, if you want a cup of tea, you will first use a kettle. You will use a kettle to boil the water. So on top of the stove here, we have an orange kettle. This is an orange kettle. Just to the right of the orange kettle, we have a blender. So this is a blender. It's a blue blender, actually. If you want to mix lots of different things, maybe if you want to drink a smoothie, healthy smoothie, you can use a blender to blend the ingredients. So the blender blends many different things into liquid. So you can make a smoothie. So we have a stove, an oven, orange kettle, a blue blender. Here we have a spatula. This is a wooden spatula just hanging down here. So this is a spatula hanging down just above the stove. We have a spatula. Here we have a white shelf. There is a white shelf here with many things on top of the white shelf. It looks like we have some teacups. I would say these are teacups. To be honest, I'm not sure what the other items are, but these are teacups on top of the white shelf. And down here we have some drawers. So these are drawers here. We have one drawer, two drawers, three drawers, and four drawers at the bottom there. So four drawers here. And to the left of the oven, we have cupboards. So we have a cupboard underneath the sink. So we have a sink up here, but there's a cupboard underneath. There's a cupboard underneath the sink. So we have the oven, the kettle, the stove, the blender. We have a spatula, a white shelf here, some teacups, a sink, a tap, some drawers, four drawers, and a cupboard. So can you see what is the difference between the picture on the left and the picture on the right? Take a look. Can you see what the difference is? Let me see here. What is the difference between the two pictures? Okay, I found the first difference here, guys. It is the tap. So the tap here is facing to the left, but in the other picture, the tap is facing to the right, and the tap looks a bit different as well. So the two taps are different. So that is the first difference here. Let me put a circle around that. So this tap here is different from this tap on the right. So the first difference is the two taps, which are different. Okay, what else is different in this picture? It's not easy, actually. It's not easy to see the other difference. I found it. So in the left picture, we have this wooden spatula hanging down from the white shelf on the top. But in the picture on the right, we do not have a spatula hanging down. So we have a spatula on the left picture, but we don't have a spatula on the right picture. So the first difference is the spatula here. The second difference, sorry, is the spatula. Okay, there should be one more difference. There should be one more big difference here. Let me see. One more difference. Now, the sink is the same in both pictures. The drawers, the 4 drawers are the same in both pictures. The blender is the same in both pictures. The kettle is different. Ah, there we go. So the kettle is different in each picture. So I don't know how I did not notice that before, but as you can see, we have different kettles in both pictures. So the kettle on the left looks different from the kettle on the right. They are both orange kettles, but the 2 kettles look different somehow. So 2 different kettles there. That is the third difference. Okay, what about the fourth difference here? Ah, I found it. Take a look at the cupboard underneath the sink. You can see the handle on the cupboard. So on the right image, the handle for the cupboard is missing. So for some reason, the handle is missing on the right, but the handle is not missing on the left. So that's the fourth difference. The fourth difference is that there is a handle on the cupboard on the left, but there is no handle on the cupboard on the right. So that is the fourth difference. It's the handle on the cupboard. There should be one more difference here somewhere. There we go. I found it. I found it. Take a look at this. Look on the oven here. You can see that the controls, you see on the oven, we have the controls. We have 4 knobs. So we have 4 different knobs, and these control the oven in different ways. So we have 4 knobs here on the oven. They are red knobs. So here's one knob, here's a second knob, here's a third knob, and here's a fourth knob. But the difference is, if we look at the far right knob on the oven, the far right knob, this in the left picture, this knob is facing upwards. So it's pointing upwards here. So on the left picture, the red knob here is pointing upwards. Well, on the right picture, the red knob is pointing downwards. It's kind of pointing to the bottom left here. So on the left picture, the knob is pointing up, but in the right picture, it's pointing to the bottom left. It's kind of diagonal. So it's not vertical. On the picture on the left, the knob is pointing sort of vertically. It's vertical. But on the picture on the right, it's diagonal. It's pointing down to the bottom left here. So I think that is the last difference. So the differences were the tap is different in each picture. The spatula, which is hanging down from the white shelf, spatula. The orange kettle looks different in each picture. The handle on the cupboard underneath the sink, handle in the cupboard underneath the sink is different, is missing on the right picture. And finally, the red knob on the oven is pointing in different directions, because the one on the left is pointing upwards, but the one on the right is pointing down to the left, the bottom left there. So that is all the differences that I can see in this picture. So guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. See you later.